Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us. I go by the name of Vak.
And I'm Barack, the Boxing Bully.
And this is the DAZN Boxing Show. I'm happy that you guys are here with me because I feel like talking boxing this morning. Two big fights this weekend. We're going to get into it. We're talking about Pacheco. We're talking about Tim Tszyu. Let's get into it on the opening bell. Barack, let's start off with the young, 22-year-old, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, sir.
I think Mr. Pacheco is 22 years old, very mature for his age, beyond his years, in the ring and then outside the ring. Even having a conversation with the young man, you could tell he's a thinker. He's beyond his years, which leads me to believe that this kid is going to have a bright future with the size that he has for his weight class and his ring IQ. Barack, honestly, as soon as the fight started, even though Jack Cullen did land a couple of jabs, right away, I already saw the young man Pacheco sizing him up. I saw him getting his distance with the jab and then starting to land big shots. I mean, I saw it coming from the rip.
Yeah, exactly what we thought was going to happen. Like I said, I thought I seen Diego Pacheco in tougher fights already. You know, at least against a tougher fighter. But Jack Cullen is one of those gritty guys. He's one of those guys that come to fight. And what I saw at first, which shocked me, was that Jack Cullen was actually taller. You know, if you look on BoxRec, it says the other way around, that Jack Cullen is shorter and Diego's taller. But no, Jack
get your info right, BoxRec. Get your info right.
He definitely had the height, maybe even the reach. Who knows? You can't really go by anything nowadays. You just got to look while they're fighting. But yeah, man, I mean, this guy Pacheco has the neutralizer. And you know, one thing I realized is that he's always calm in there. And I believe it's because who he trains with, you know, Benavidez family and company. And also, he's already been on the big stages. Like, he's fought on the undercard of Rodriguez and Canelo and guys like that. So this was nothing to him like, all right, fine. We know the main event was supposed to be Callum Smith. That drops, that happens so many times, and the guy underneath is like the star now, and that's a blessing for them. But I'm the headliner now. I'm used to this big stage. I'm used to the big crowd. This is my first time in the UK, but I'm used to a big crowd anyway, and I'm gonna show and prove, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think you hit the nail on the head. His calmness and him taking his time in the ring is that of an experienced fighter already. Normally, that's a guy that's a veteran that's been in there, been in some wars. Because young kids, they're ready to knock you out. You know what I'm saying? They're ready to make a statement each time. He's fighting in the UK. So I think that he has a bright future, Barack. I mean, I'd like to see who's next. He said he's ready for the top level guys. I mean, I don't know, but I guess he wants the opportunity to prove that. He could be right. You know, it depends on how he takes a shot from guys that can punch, guys that are skilled, because he's going to get to a point where he meets a guy that's going to be able to answer back, a guy that's going to be able to slip one of his hard shots and counter. So if he can weather that storm and his power is that severe in that division where he can hurt any guy, yeah, then maybe he can compete in that division. I like it, though.
Yeah, I say you don't really know. I mean, we don't know because we're not in the gym with him. We don't know as fans, as the onlookers, we don't know if he's ready for that elite competition yet because Jack Cullen is not that barometer. Right. But we do know the natural progression. Yes, he's ready for. So in other words, he's ready for that other top contender, that prospect / turf contender like Felix Cash or somebody like that who, you know, he's about to fight on the Anthony Joshua undercard, who also beat Cullen and stopped him in the 8th round. You know, so he's ready for those kind of fights or those former champions and stuff like that. So now he's 22 years old, like you said. Natural progression will probably make sense.
No doubt about it. Now, speaking of natural progression, this young man has made a name for himself, Barack, being the son of a legend. And I'm talking about Tim Tszyu, the son of Tszyu, is, you know, these young men that come from that lineage, you know, always have a tough time proving themselves. But this young man has proven himself with flying colors, in my opinion. Now, credit to Tony Harrison in that bout, who made an attempt, had moments in that fight. But that aggression was just way too much for Tony Harrison, and we all saw the outcome of the fight. But I just want to get into the X's and O's here. I think Tony didn't use the length in his jab the way I assumed he would, not as often as he should have with a guy like Tszyu, but maybe just the pressure was just too much, Brock.
maybe also understand something that he's the head trainer of Alicia Baumgartner, who's the undisputed champion at 130 pounds, and she just fought in February in New York. So while he was there as head trainer, obviously you're not focusing on yourself. And what about that camp? That should have been his camp time too, because think about it. Jamel hurt his hand back in like December, and it was Harrison who said on social media, "Hey, I'll step up and I'll fight." Just saying that doesn't mean you go straight into camp. You don't go straight into the gym, especially when you're already in the gym training your trainer, who's a top female competitor, a champion. You know, so I believe probably the focus at that time in February was for her. You know what I'm saying? Was for her. Like he would say, "Yeah, I was running even though I was out here in New York." But come on, it's
not the same thing.
It's
focal point. You need to be the focal point.
Yeah,
in something like that.
Right. So I'm not trying to give him excuses, but it is really like it's something. You know, it's something that you have to take into account.
It's something, but at this level, prize
once
fighting,
you get into the ring, whatever level, there's no real excuses, and it doesn't matter. If you decide to get in the ring, you got to deal with the consequences, and that's it. You know, but I know a lot of people gave Tim Tszyu credit, and I do too, for taking on somebody like Harrison, because you don't know whether Harrison is in full camp or not.
You know, who's going to show what Harrison is going to show up. Look, and Harrison did show, he still showed Tony Harrison like moments in the fight, like he had his moments.
That's true.
But to your point, maybe the conditioning wasn't there because of the training camp. Maybe the desire isn't the same as he once showed with the great fights against Jamel Charlo. He already has mentioned out in public that he's not sure if he's going to fight again. This is Tony Harrison, so he's already thinking retirement. I know his brother on social media put out a statement saying that, you know, he's going to advise his brother to not fight anymore, that he prefer for him not to fight anymore. That's his own brother. Yeah. So, you know, when people that close to you are giving you that type of advice, I mean, you have to consider what's going on. Sometimes we can't see what's going on inside that ring the way people can outside, and that needs to be considered. But I'm pretty sure he's going to go watch the tape, see how he feels. Normally fighters say that, then they get back in the gym a few months later, start hitting the bag and get that bug back. So we don't know, you know what I mean? As long as he makes the decision that's best for him and his family.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't know. And I did see that video of his brother saying that. And I guess when a fighter gets to a point where your body can't respond, then yeah, you should retire. But I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if he gave his 100% in camp. Because usually there are certain fighters who just have confidence. They're born with it, that kind of confidence. But most fighters, it's about their preparation. The preparation gives them that confidence. So when you don't have that preparation, maybe that's something mentally you can fall back on. You know, because we saw, all right, first round, you seen that Tony Harrison we thought we was gonna see, but we see that Tony Harrison in even his other losses that were stoppages, you know? So we seen that guy controlling the fight with a jab, only land maybe one or throw one right hand, you know, but controlling the fight. And then all of a sudden, you gotta give Tim Tszyu credit, because what I noticed, they weren't mentioning this, but Tim Tszyu started punching at the shoulder, the left shoulder of Harrison. Said, okay, I don't have my distance yet. I can't hit you yet because you're a little too slick, even though you're not doing too much lateral movement, but you're controlling distance. So I'm gonna hit your shoulder, bang, bang. So that's something else for Harrison to look at. And Harrison's hand kind of went from here to like right here down, you know, trying to stop him from hitting that shoulder. So that's kind of like a veteran move of Tim Tszyu, and eventually he was able to break Harrison down. But I would like to see the Harrison that has a full camp, totally focusing on himself, and see if he can still compete at the top level.
All right, well, look, enough about Harrison. We gave him his flowers, hell of a fighter. We'll see what he does next, but let's give credit to Tim Tszyu for such a big win. I mean, I know you just mentioned him. Outside him hitting Harrison on the arm, still, he showed that killer instinct, man, that you have to have as a fighter, as a prize fighter. And in that division, he's trying to make a statement, and I think he made a statement. He wants Jamel Charlo. Jamel Charlo was on the Showtime broadcast, you know, with the other guys there discussing this. His hand was hurt. He's recovering from it. It's safe to say that he wants to fight. He's like, yo, I'm ready for it. So nothing else is going to happen in between. These dudes are going to meet each other next and I like the fight. I like the fact that, you know, Jamel's a puncher, Tim Tszયુ's a puncher. Both guys like to mix it up in the pocket there. Yo, credit to Tim Tszyu for making a name for himself. Now we know Tim Tszyu. It's not Costa Tszyu's son. It's Tim Tszyu.
I was thinking that, you know, it's hard to be the son or daughter of a legend. Now, it's not Ali legend. You know what I'm saying? It's not Frazier or these guys, but it is a very, very, very good fighter in Costa Tszyu. You know, a Hall of Famer, like a guy who, you know, proved his self in this sport. He might be one of the best offsprings, you know, of a great champion.
I know what you're saying. He might eventually surpass his father's status.
It just so happens
never happened. It never happened.
Charlo. He's gonna run into a Jamel Charlo who's incredibly hard to beat, and possibly he might get beat, Tim Tszyu. But think about it. He already beat Goucher and now Harrison. That's a pretty good resume.
I would say.
Back.
And not only that, his father's never was undisputed champion. I would say if he would beat Jamel Charlo and become undisputed.
Oh, that's crazy, but yes.
You know, then we're talking, hey, Pops, this might be the first offspring that has surpassed his father's status in the boxing, you know, world. I like it. I like the idea. And I can't wait for that fight to happen. All right?
Absolutely.
That's our show for today. Hope you guys enjoy. Peace and love. Stay safe. We're out of here.
Introducing the new DAZN Boxing Show podcast. No matter the time or the place, getting your boxing content has become easier than ever. Tune in as we give you exclusive insights, predictions, fight night recaps, and more alongside the biggest names in the game. All for free. Available globally every Thursday across all audio streaming platforms and with new episodes dropping weekly to give you the latest news. Just type in the DAZN Boxing Show podcast, listen in, and enjoy.